and then I just make choices from there. But it, like that kind of thing, like too much thinking, you know, like. Also, I don't know. If I took a canvas, and I noticed this is the thing, even though this is all, that was the other thing I was going to say. I know I'm going off, but I just wanted to say this is like, this was also a ready-made style, because that was the other thing I noticed when I saw it. I was like, oh, this looks like a style, okay? Because everybody wants to get a style, right? So it's like, okay, so this is now a ready-made, because I discovered it. It just came out of the thing. So I was like, okay, now I'm gonna, and it's really different than my normal process, okay, through the last 25 years. I mean, basically, whatever comes into my mind, I will do, you know, like, because I have the facility now on the computer with the programs, I can do whatever I want. And so I can just go everywhere, and because I'm not making it, you know, it's just like, yeah, we can do this and do that. So this time I just like, okay, I'm going to actually do something where it looks like everything just kind of looks like a series of this and this and this and this and that. So it's kind of changed my own way of doing things for a while. So it's a kind of, yeah.
I think it comes back to what you were saying about the blank gallery, the blank canvas, and this kind of existential crisis that we're all faced with when we have to make a decision on that. Like, why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? What does this mean? I mean, it's a whole, like, conceptual art was started with like too many reasons for too many things. So some people say that like Matisse couldn't paint until he painted a woman, and then he could go off and it would be amazing. So in a way, for me, it makes me think about your sort of generating principle that kind of got you going, and then this joy, this intuition, this study that's embedded in you allowed for you to just kind of, as you said, intuitively make decisions that you're faced with, that you know that is a correct pattern. Whatever correct means, that's meaningful to you, and then that's joyful.
Right.
And then you can have, that's a sort of expression. I don't know, it's an
that's exactly
project.
No, this is because the thing is, it's also being open. It's being open to anything and not having like a preconceived notion. Like one of my favorite artists, I feel like he does this so well because I think he just has naturally ability, probably. It's like Richard Tuttle, who's actually the reason why I started doing art in the first place. But, you know, it's this kind of being always open. Always open. Everything was like, just, you don't have any like, this preconceived, so it's just like you're playing with something, you know, and then you're allowing something to be revealed by doing that. You know, it's not like trying to do something. It's this kind of like, I gotta, you know, it's a really state of a different kind of like, it's like being like a child. It's like no concepts.
Except that
You know?
your experience and
Right.
that your study and that you're like in this ironic way, like if you're too open and you have no experience or nothing behind it, it becomes ambiguous.
Right.
And completely non-meaningful. But in another way, like this thing that you've like built over your lifetime, experience, knowledge, whatever, attention to, you know, formal, structural concerns has allowed you to make these like interesting decisions that, yeah, fascinating.
That's the good part. It's like you can then, as somebody, you know, yes, the experience. Then you can like go look at it again. Okay, and then the choices come where like I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. But it's not coming from like this kind of, it's not coming from a heavy place of like working hard to get something.
Judgmental.
Yeah, it's like I'm judging, well, it's just good. It's like this kind of thing. So it's more like just like, okay, this feels right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that feeling right again comes in. You know, it's like, and that's just something that, like you said, that's just experience, based on experience, like being, you know, and so, yeah. So, I mean, for me, this encapsulates everything that I've been doing probably since I started making artwork. You know.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm very, very satisfied with that.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So with each of the patterns, sounds like there's a decent amount of decision making. Was there a high rejection rate? Did you like, or did each of those get worked until it's like, this feels right? Was the way, it seems like you put the grid in there, move it, change it in 3D, XYZ, and
No,
access and it.
Right, no, what happens is like once, okay, you set the grid in, right? And then you're kind of locked, that's it, and then you perform the operations, and then you get your pattern, right? And then there's no moving around anymore, okay? That's it. It's got its imprint, and you work with that. Now, like I said, with those two, then you can apply the, whatever it is, this new pattern, you can apply the random select and to choose what black and white. Now, there weren't that many rejections, because, I mean, there's like, I make 2 or 3, maybe, or something like that, maybe 4 if I'm, like, something really isn't going. Until I find something that I really like, okay, this looks interesting, okay? And again, it's like one of those things where it's like a Rorschach. It's like, okay, this one it looks interesting to me. I mean, the other ones might be interesting to somebody else, but I am making those choices, okay? So there is that aspect. But it's like playing with, again, chance.
What you're painting black, what you're painting white. That's
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and what's black and white is that the computer made the random choice.
Oh.
And then I go with it. I don't sit there and fuss with that. I don't like going, well, maybe if I, then that's when all that other part comes in, which I find is like, then it's becoming too thinking, too much thinking. It's like, you have to let go, okay? It's just like, leave the pattern, it's good. Maybe that one little section is kind of problematic or something like that to somebody, I don't know. But it's just like, or even to myself, but it's like, or it could be better. That's the other thing that comes in. Those kinds of things that come into your head. Well, it could be better if I did this, or it could be better if I did that. It's like, no. It's like, just leave it. Just leave it alone. It's fine, It's like, I don't have to do anymore. I've done it's like you've already made kind of like this decision. See? So it's like, I made the choice and that's it, and you go with it. And that's how the whole thing works. But thank you for it's clarifying, because it might have been other people might not have gotten that. But yeah.
There's another choice point that came up at times where it will be the choice, like, okay, which one to paint and to actually physically make. And so, I'm in the house doing stuff, whatever, and I hear Jordan's like, hey, come in here, it's like, and he has maybe 3 things up, 3 pieces. And he goes, of these ones, and he's not weighting it in any way. And he says, of these ones, what do you think? Which one? And, I might have like, well, like a little, like, well, this one, that one, but I think this one. And he was like, that's what I thought. Like, it was interesting.
That's interesting.
It was really interesting that there was,
A clear choice
a
decided.
concurrence, of how we saw the situation.
That's really fascinating.
But like I said, my wife Lynn helped me to
Yes.
put this whole thing together.
Yes.
So we work together in everything. So it's like, this is kind of, well, not everything, but a lot of things. So it's again this kind of thing of like integrative. It's like creating like the circumstance here, like meeting Gene and everything. It's like creating the circumstances for something to happen. And it's not just me, or whatever that is, me. But it's like it's a conjunction of different things coming together for something possible to manifest. And so why not? It's like other people saying input. Like Gene helped me with a lot of stuff too here, and it's like it's work. It's kind of working together, collaborating. That's what it is. That's what this is all about. So,
Yeah.
I heard you mention it's kind of analogous to cloud watching, and it kind of ties in with your whole concept of the sky and how we project onto phenomena, you know, and I want, so if you can maybe talk about that, like as far as like how did you intend to do that, or was it just an accident, you know, or is it just kind of?
You mean like picking the patterns,
or just, well, the end result kind of just, it reminds me of watching clouds and
yeah, well,
seeing
it's like
things.
the Rorschach, it's
Yeah.
like the ink blot thing.
Yeah.
It is exactly like that. You know, it's about which is what we do all the time. Essentially, it's just highlighting what it is we do all the time. We have our expectations. Like you go to a gallery, you have expectations. That's another reason why I kept it really, there's another point, thank you, to keep it minimal of the description of what the show was and everything like that. I did not want to lead people into starting the thing. I'm not telling people what it is they should be seeing. It's either there or it's not. You know, it's like, and it's visual art as far as I'm concerned. This is my own personal thing. It's like, and yeah, we can elaborate later with words and stuff like that, but really I don't want to like preempt and people say like, oh, this is, because I give people the benefit of the doubt that they're coming to see visual things. They have their own, they can see it for themselves. It doesn't, you don't necessarily have to have an art background to be able to get into it, you know? So that's what I mean, keeping it open to anybody. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't describe because I want it to be like clouds. It's like people coming in and seeing what they're going to see in the work, rather than me having to, you know, go into this whole thing about it beforehand.
It's nice it doesn't have those really long, like when you go to shows and they've got these really long descriptions where you're, where you're like, I don't even know what they were talking about.
I was where you were.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, we were struggling with that, with trying to map it out with the, you know, as you saw, because you didn't want the titles to be next to each one, because there's this idea of seeing the body of work, and all these different things. And like you were talking about the clouds, I think that was, we had talked about, will these exist as these configurations post-show? Right, and so in a way,
Exactly.
like a cloud, it's like a sky, it's, you're open.
Right,
You're
and
not-
it may
yeah.
just dissolve. It's sort of like everything just comes apart. You know, it's not like everything's going to stay.
Fixed or something.
Well, it's like us.
Yeah.
You know, it's real simple. There's another note. It's like basically we're gonna die, and all of this is gonna fall apart and become something else. So all of these could become other patterns, and go on and on and on. You know, somebody was asking, what are you gonna do with all this stuff? Like Lid's nephew was like, well, what are you gonna do with all this stuff? It's like, you know, after the show. And I'm like, well, probably be in the basement.
Or a traveling show.
Or a travel,
Another-
anything's
Who knows?
possible, but I'm just thinking in the short term, I'm like, they're probably gonna be going in the basement, you know? So to be realistic.
Right, yeah, of course.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, yes.
So you named them, did you name them here? Like, I noticed some Tibetan astrology, Tagmo and Blaha.
Yes,
You named them right in
that was
the
a day, we took a day to name them all here. You know, and again, the naming is open-ended, you know, I have a few, there's a few things that I'm not gonna go into personal stories about, some of the pieces that they reminded me, because again, the Rorschach thing, of things that happened to me in the past, but there's that kind of thing, but again, I wanted to keep my interpretation out of it, you know, and just leave it for people, because I think it's much more interesting that way anyway. And people get more out of it than me, again, saying it exists, or is it this face, or that, or whatever.
But there was time spent, the two of them spent a significant installing, you said 4 days, and then the 5th day naming, which was quite, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of energy and time. It was exciting to witness, so thank you, yeah, it was really great.
I think I wish I could see it in the candlelight configuration, because it's very contemplative to me. Just to spend quite a lot of time looking, say, at the shape that's over you, and and noticing what different patterns my mind is trying to put onto them, and whether it's just one piece or it's the whole thing, and the feelings and the way of interpreting it, and it's just fun to see that, and it feels like almost like what's that famous gallery in the Art Institute where the Japanese
The
gallery.
10,
Yeah, where you just want to sit there and take it in and let something happen to you while you look at it. It's my feeling. And specifically for me, it's like I'm seeing half of them are sometimes they're elevations, sometimes they're plan view, sometimes they're like comic book stories, sometimes it's like wabi sabi. It's like it just broke and then you put it together and it's beautiful because it just happened to break that way. I love all the different ways that it can be because it's just got a lot of life to me.
Thank you for mentioning the comic books, Ted, because that was another influence of mine in my life. I was reading, actually my mom read me my first comic books because I couldn't read yet when I was probably 4 or 5, something like that. So comic books, that was one of the, I learned how to read because of comic books, basically. So there's the comic book element. And digital games, somebody else was mentioning that about digital games. So there's that digital thing. It's just putting all these things together. I'm glad you mentioned it. I forgot about the comic book thing.
Yeah, it's like reading,
Yeah.
a Crazy Cat or something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All these different ways.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
the Spy Guys from Mad
Yes.
Magazine.
Yes, Spy vs. Spy. Actually,
vs. Spy.
I loved Spy vs. Spy. That was like one of my favorite ones, actually. It's funny. That one I didn't, but yes, it's like it's all in here, these patterns. Spy vs. Spy.
People.
Yeah, that's right. I'll have to remember that on my next, whatever I put together.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get, well, I have a figure here, you can see, but anyway, it's close, but yeah.
All right, well, I just want to make sure you.
Anything else? I think we got it covered.
I think we talked about a lot of this stuff. I'm just trying to think if you wanted to, we mentioned the candlelit video that you
yes.
had done. He had mentioned that. So there's a video that might be mixed into, I don't know, this
Yeah.
talk about Lynn, and then the three of you, Shannon, Lynn, and George, all came and put candles in the area and then took a video.
Yeah.
I was not here for that, but I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, because again, going back to the idea with the video of the candlelight was sort of this, and that was Lynn's actually vision that she had, was it like, because we were talking about, we've been to Lascaux and the caves in France, and it's this thing again influenced by the, if you're like, you can imagine going into these caves with just candlelight or torchlight and just discovering all these patterns on the walls. You have a limited light source where it's like it doesn't expand through it, so you're just seeing the patterns and then going from that. So it's kind of that kind of sacred space or whatever you want to call it, that, bringing that, evoking that too. So, yeah, so we'll have that video.
And I always like, just as another way to view it is, in this space, at night, I always leave the lights on, and so the neighbors who walk by can see just this space is lit, and it's really striking. And I often get, not often, but a couple times I'll get a note or whatever, and someone did leave a sticky note on the window saying, exclamation point, smiley face, about this. And that's really exciting to know that it's being witnessed in these different ways.
Well, that was the thing. Thank you, Gene, because that was like what I noticed when I had these in our apartment. It was like getting dark at night or something like that. Is that because of the black and white, which now I want to talk about, because the black and white, and there's other reasons why I chose black and white, because people ask, and not color, because people were talking about, why didn't you use color? Which I have done some with color, but I haven't, produced them. But the black and white, there's a couple of things. One, I wanted to keep it real simple, like our initial, how we make distinctions. The first distinction is in and out, this and that. And as long as you keep it black and white, that's where the first separation comes. It's like figured ground. It's like, it's once you get into color, then you're starting to thinking. A lot of thinking starts coming in, and it just goes more complex, So the figure ground was one other reason, but it also creates this situation where in the dark, you really can see still black and white. And you realize our optic thing is adjusted for light and dark first, and colors are gone in the dark for the most part. Even underwater, you see that it becomes just basically, light and dark. But also binary, so it's again referring to the digital world of zeros and ones. And I think that was it for that, but that's so that people know why I chose to just go with the black and white patterns here, also.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much. I
Thank
think
you,
it's really
Jean.
good.
Very much.